Hi, I'm Sydney Radka, and welcome to another edition of FLX Weekly here at FingerLakes1.com. We are live inside the FingerLakes1.com studio. It is October 20th already, and today we have Jim Sinicropi, as always, and Bob Montgomery, who is the executive producer of the Finger Lakes Light Show. We're going to talk all about that. It's so exciting. I can't wait. Today's show is brought to you by DA's Liquor in Seneca Falls. And Ready or Not, fall is here in the Finger Lakes, and DA Liquors in Seneca Falls wants to make sure you are stocked and ready for the season. They have tons of daily specials that you can stop in and check out. Some of the things, obviously, that are big hits right now. 1911 has, cider, donut, tasting drinks. They have Southern Tier, pumpkin, everything, caramel vodkas, apple vodkas, anything that you could think of fall-like. They have it. So
I still go for the wine selection of Finger Lakes wines.
It is a huge wine
Not only
selection.
Finger Lakes wines, but she works with the wineries to make sure that it's the best selection of wines around. Of Finger Lakes wines, and then obviously from beyond as well. It's good stuff.
I definitely love when I walk in. She keeps it seasonal right when you walk in, and it's things you would never think like that you would want to try. And then you're like, oh, this is an apple cider vodka. I have to grab it because it's fall. Why not? Well, we want to officially welcome you into the Finger Lakes One studio. Are you excited to be here?
Yes, thank you, Sydney.
We talked already about so much before the show that I can't wait to jump into it, but I just want to tell you, Jim, that did you know he just drove here all the way from Canada this morning?
Yeah.
You knew that already?
No, we were talking before the show. It's a nice day for a drive, right, Bob?
Yeah, it was pretty when the sun came up.
Yeah, right. I feel like very special and honored that you drove all the way here for this show from Canada. So, let's just jump right into it. You are here to tell us about a light show that is going on specifically right now at Grist Iron Brewing.
That's right.
So I'm going to let you just take it away and tell us what it's all about.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's really it's great to be able to kind of combine a trip and have all this time. So so our Finger Lakes Festival of Lights is really an expression of a 2,000-year-old traditional art form that started in South Central China and through the Tang Dynasty, and they were lanterns. They were the kind of lanterns that you might see at a Chinese restaurant. The little red hanging lanterns. That was the genesis of it, and of course that evolved, and other countries started to have light festivals in Asia. So Japan and Korea do something similar. Our show is sort of the culmination of some of those evolutions. So now these are large light sculptures, really, that are will have about 1,000 or so individual sculptures.
Wow!
That some are 30 feet tall. And it tells the story. We found that telling the story that is relevant to the region in all of the shows that we do around the world is actually really important thing. Yeah. So our story starts on Seneca Lake, and it's all about the parents and their children drop their kids off to the grandparents' farm, complete with vineyards, and then. As grandfathers do, they spin some real stories together. They love the stories of grandparents would tell them, and that's the foundation that allows us to get into all kinds of fun themes with dinosaurs and underwater adventures. And
I'll share some photos here in a second, but it's a walking tour, right? Because a lot of these things for Christmas lights and stuff you'll drive through, but this is a walking.
Yes, it's a walking tour, and the levels of detail that are in the show. And all the nuances, it's we think it's much more enjoyable. It extends the experience. It makes for a full evening.
Yeah.
It's almost 1 mile long, so it's not quite a mile, but it's a good walk.
So before you keep going, the thing that's funny is when I first started talking to Tatiana, when she said lantern light show, it's exactly how you mentioned. I pictured the red little lantern ball lights that you see, and I was like, interesting, like how is that really going to be? And then you see these pictures and it's just like mind-blowing.
Yeah, look at the detail.
It's insane because they're actually huge too.
They are. Yeah, they're they're larger than life, I would say, for the most part. But when you see a dinosaur, or you see a dinosaur, that's life sized.
They're so pretty.
Yeah, they're really the artwork in these, the level of detail, and the way that they create these sculptures it's quite special as well. So they're all three-dimensional characters. They have some effects, some animation, but they're all developed in 2 dimensions first. So they literally bend the steel on a hard surface. So maybe a parking lot asphalt surface, or a concrete surface, or even a wood surface. And they sketch it all out, and then the artist develops it in 2D, bends the steel in 2D, and then shapes it into a 3-dimensional object.
And there's so many of them. I mean, it's like, so when we first heard about that you were coming on the show, Festival of Lights, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. It's probably like a holiday light display type of deal with some big stuff, and it'll be pretty impressive. But this is something completely different. It's the life-size nature of it, the variety of them, the detail, and the fact that you're walking through. I mean, this is a tremendous opportunity to see something pretty cool right in our own backyard.
Right.
Well, it's nice to have something that can exceed some expectations, because I do think you're right. Is that it's hard to conceive of either how big the show is, or how many sculptures there are, and the scale of it. And it's especially nice to see it in when you're walking through the forest, because it's really a really pretty natural area that we occupy.
It is so awesome, and like, I'm so sad. I told you this before the show too. A big group of my family went to this already, and I think I was sick or something, and I couldn't go, and I was so upset about it. And they loved it, and they didn't have one kid with them, which, having kids go through this, it's got to be like so awesome for these kids. And they were like, I felt like a kid when I was walking through it, because it was so big and in your face and bright, and you can stop and actually get like treats and drinks along the walk too, which is enticing for the adult children and us. But I can't imagine having a group of kids go through this, at like someone that's obsessed with dinosaurs or something. I think it would be so awesome to watch.
So a couple of angles I just wanted to, how do you have to pay? Is there a cost?
Yes, it's a cost. It's the prices are as low as $19.95. Depends on what day you come as well, but there's different tiers of pricing. So
you buy tickets in advance, or you pay at the door?
Yes, you buy tickets in advance, and you buy tickets for the day that you'd like to come.
Gotcha.
You can purchase at the door, but we prefer that you purchase online. It's cheaper, and it allows us to move you through the process that much faster. So to get you to the exhibits.
Right.
And Sydney, you mentioned there was refreshments and snack. Like how does that work? What's available?
Yeah. So our partner and the location, we're working with the Grist Iron Brewery. So Grist Iron has their beers and wines and things at the top of the hill, as Sydney was mentioning. We also sell some grab and go snack things, especially for the kids. So it's popcorn, it's sodas, it's all of that. So
does it start at Grist Iron or end at Grist Iron, or halfway through you're at the actual building?
So it's about, I was going to say 200 meters, but I'll say what's like 230 yards. Something like that. Further up the hill. So the restaurant is down closer to the roadside.
Yep.
And it's marked when you come onto you enter through the same entrance, and you just carry on up the top of the hill, and after a certain point, you'll see the glow of all the lights that are coming through the trees. And
I mean, I've been to Grist Iron several times, and so I can picture what you're saying. Something that I'm definitely going to try to get to with my daughter and maybe some of her friends.
And it goes until you still have a
November
good
7th,
amount of time you can go, right?
November 7th. Yes, that's right.
And it's started.
Well, we started in September, the week after the school started. So that was great. That was a great soft opening for us. But now that the nights are getting longer, that fits with everybody's schedules that much easier. So it's really picked up. We're quite busy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because people have more time that they can actually go now that it's getting longer.
And we associate this time with lights and that sort of Halloween. Even as we move into Christmas, lights are important for us.
And obviously, you're going to show up after dusk.
Yes, that's right. So that's a really good point. We do change the opening date, the opening time, depending on the when the sun goes down. Because it's in the forest, actually, it gets pretty dark earlier. Yeah. So dusk is what we say. So right now, that's we're starting to look at 6:30 as kind of our opening. Nice. Our opening time.
Daylight saving. You're going to get a couple days after daylight savings too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'll get open real early once that starts.
That's awesome. So I had a question. Well, I have a million questions, but I'm going to start it with, how do you guys come into this? All of a sudden you're growing up as a little boy and you're like, I'm going to build or be the production manager of these big lantern lights.
Yeah.
What is your background like?
So I started in actually the theme park industry right out of university. I started at Canada's Wonderland, which I'm sure many of your viewers and listeners will know. At that time, it was Canada's first ever theme park.
Wow.
And I started right out of university. So did that for a while. Stayed in the industry, worked in Europe and Asia and different places, and America as well. That grew into a consultancy with myself and a colleague. We've done that for about 12 or 13 years now. And how we got into the lantern shows was a good bit of our work is on new projects, but we also very often get involved in properties that are looking for us to help them improve, or they may be in some trouble and they need a different kind of strategy, and that often involved developing special events, and oftentimes they're not very effective in doing those, and so we help, and that led us to this idea of lanterns. And to be fair, my partner actually tried this. It was the first ever show that was done outside of China, up in Toronto, 25 years ago.
Wow.
And he brought it in. He worked for Canada's largest museum. He was the chief executive there, and I'd seen it. We weren't operating it, but we always had that thought in our mind. This is quite a thing. We really should find a way to do this, and you need large space. We think about 15, 20 acres for that kind of space. Yeah. And so we had a project in Europe, in the United Kingdom, that was a perfect fit for this now about 8 years ago. And it was a huge success. That grew into Europe. We've done probably 50 of these shows now around the world. And we understand it now better than ever, and so it's been great to kind of not just do it for partners, but now we're doing it for ourselves.
That's awesome. That's like such a story I feel like you don't hear often. I'm going to go into the theme park industry, and then I'm going to end up having these giant sculptures that are actually lanterns. That's another question. How do you move these things? How do you transport them from place to place
when it's over? What?
Yeah, it's well, that is one of the real benefits of these lanterns in terms of being able to do things again and again and again. Not so much because they're repeated, but because we don't use the same show each time.
Okay.
So it's always fresh. So if we come back next year to have the show again, it'll be an entirely new set of lanterns. Wow. So we do reuse some of them
before you mentioned it starts as two-dimensional objects and you turn them into what they are.
It takes about 8 months to develop the show, to then have it made. Most often, so we're doing a show right now in the Dublin Zoo. that's just finishing, and they'll open for the late fall through Christmas. That was 30 containers. Wow. And you've heard all the news about how challenging it is now to ship things. But we managed to get under the wire for both our show here in Watkins Glen and in some of our European shows. But so there's a real sort of library of assets that we can use. But we really run the show. They are made of synthetic silk now. Traditionally they were made of silk.
Right.
And so the synthetic silk does really well outdoors. Normally we have the artisans come on the site and make them.
Wow.
So we ship about 20%. We build about 80% of the displays. We didn't do that this time here because of all the COVID restrictions and the challenges that creates for us. But going forward, we'll get back to that process.
How are the lanterns powered?
They're powered just through. They're all wired together. So we have 30 different scenes. So 30 we would call them sets. 30 different sets, and they might have 50 to 100 lanterns in them. Those are all linked together, and we brought power up to the site, and then we've distributed that power to roughly where we saw the sets landing on the trail.
Because that in itself has to be its own logistical puzzle.
It was, and actually it's one of the things that takes a lot of time. It's staging the lights and then wiring them all together, and they do draw some power, so we've got to be sure that we have enough power at each point to kind of take the load that it has. But
how awesome, Mo! I don't think that anybody maybe tuning into this that hears there's a festival of lights. Right. I don't think they understand the first of all the scale and the uniqueness of this. Like, you've never seen anything like this before. So and you got plenty of time now to get out there, and while the weather's still good too. Yeah. I don't think you want to miss the opportunity to see something so unique in our own backyard and at such a scale. You mentioned just listening to Bob talk about the size of everything and the logistics behind it. You gotta go see it. I'm 100% chance I'm going to check this out.
It even blows my mind how you just said, like, right now you have multiple shows going on in different areas, which makes me realize how many lantern sculptures you actually have. So you mentioned you're doing one through Christmas in the Dublin. Right. Is that like a Christmas themed show? Do you have lanterns like
yes,
that?
Yeah. In part it is. For a place like the zoo, we often work with. This is a partnership with that zoo, and they often have a conservation message or something about that's important for their zoo, or they'll introduce a new species. We're able to use those.
What a cool way to do
the make lanterns to help bring that communication across. There is a Christmas area when we do the shows over Christmas, and if we do over Christmas here, which is something we're considering,
that's what I was going to propose. Yes.
Then we would introduce some of those elements to our show as well.
Think of a winter wonderland in the Finger Lakes with these winter Christmassy lanterns. Obviously get to this one first, but I'm already saying I think just the Finger Lakes area is so awesome to have something like this, and go Gridiron for being
in Burdett, New York, just over the border between Seneca and Schuyler County.
Yep.
Very accessible, and they do have a lot of. The thing that's interesting to me too is you're not driving down a side road here. You're walking through the Finger Lakes National Forest. That's what that is down there.
Yeah.
And so it's an opportunity I don't think people would want to miss. So if somebody's watching this, they're like, we got to go. What's the first step they should take?
First step is to check it out online or check our Facebook page, but it's Finger Lakes Festival or FingerLakesLights.com.
FingerLakesLights.com.
To look at it. And the thing that has been really rewarding for me personally is that you mentioned your family going without any children.
Yeah.
But we get children. We actually get a lot of seniors because everybody can do this. It's really for all, coming from the theme park world, it's one of the few things we do that has such a broad appeal to everybody. So when you look at it online, and I suggest Facebook, because really what drives our business is recommendations. We have very good, very strong guest scores, and so it's the word of mouth reference that you can look for, and you can't hide that these days with
social media,
TripAdvisor, and all the social media comments. So because that's so strong, we're happy to recommend that.
Well, congratulations first of all on being able to pull this off. Like I said, we're gonna definitely check it out in the next probably the next 2 weeks. I'm trying to think of how we can get over there this weekend because the forecast is pretty nice. It'll be cool, but you throw on an extra sweater, right? And there's not much rain in the forecast this weekend too, which we'll get to in a second. But I got to get out there and see this. And you mentioned theme parks and amusement parks. When looking at those photos, it is the type of thing you would expect at Disneyland. It's not grist iron in Burdett, New York. So it's just a tremendous opportunity to see something unique in a unique setting, not over commercialized either,
right?
And you're not gonna. It's so spread out that you're not gonna be overrun by crowds or waiting in lines. You're gonna go, you're gonna grab a snack and drink, and you're gonna just have a great, relaxing time seeing something that's so unique that you've never seen before.
Yeah, just listen to Jim. I mean, he just should get on your marketing team right there. But it really is so true, and I think it's awesome for you. You got to realize you have a pretty fun job. It's got to be fulfilling to know how many people are in awe of the sets that you set up. And what's even crazier and makes so much more sense is that you tell that story. You're not just aimlessly looking at these. It tells that story.
Yeah, you're not just throwing up a bunch of blow up Halloween decorations.
Right.
So the other cool part is this obviously brings you to different parts of the world.
It does, yeah.
So, Dublin, Finger Lakes region, a couple unique, beautiful places in their own right. And so, that's got to be another advantage to doing this.
It is. And we, just like everybody, we had 2020 was a soft year for us. I think we only did 2 shows last year.
Yeah.
And everybody was affected by it. So it's really nice to be back,
right?
And to get things started back up again. So I think I was doing 150,000 miles a year in 2019.
Frequent flyer.
So I've enjoyed not having to do that, but we're glad to get it back started again. That's
awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to make it in because I even think probably Jim didn't understand fully when I told them, hey, we're having a guy come in who's going to talk about the Festival of the Lights that's going on at Grist Iron. And it's what do you mean?
Yeah, no, honestly, my initial impression was, okay, these things are really cool.
Yeah.
It's nice we have one right, in kind of the middle of the Finger Lakes and not in, one of the Canandaigua or Auburn or Syracuse or Rochester. This is kind of rural Finger Lakes, accessible to everybody. I said, so that's pretty cool. And then I saw the pictures, and I was like, this is not what I thought it was.
This is helpful, I think, to visit with you because it is probably our greatest challenge is explaining what it is, because you can't easily communicate the scope and the scale of the quantity of lights and the size of them that for people to understand.
Yeah.
So pictures do a good job of that.
Sure.
When you can see them against the size of a tree or something, it gives you more perspective. But
the best way is to go there yourself and stand next to it.
Yeah.
And it's how long to take the walking tour in general if you're just going at an average pace?
Well, we think it's about an hour long walk.
Perfect.
So of course you could walk less than a mile in much less time than that. But you stop and spend time. Bring your cameras.
That's what I was going to say.
Capture all that and get into the story because there is basically it is about storytelling that moves you through the woods.
Awesome. I was going to say because my family that went, I was like, they were in there for a while. They were sending me pictures and stuff, enjoying it to the fullest. And I was like, Yeah, you can take as long as you want in there.
You can. You can go back through it again.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah,
you can go as many. You can spin around through as many times as you care to.
That's awesome. So while we're right here, we might as well jump into the weather, and so you can tell us how great it's going to be for this weekend to go and see the show.
Now, again, we've just great weather. Recently, past few years, the fall has just been great weather, unseasonably warm for longer than normal, and this might be the way things are, going forward for us, and it continues to some extent. Obviously, today, Wednesday, tomorrow, we're going to be in the 60s here in the Finger Lakes, and then heading into the weekend, it does cool down a little bit, but more seasonable type of temperature. Still good though. Friday, mostly cloudy with a high near 55. A little bit of wind coming out of the northwest at 7 to 9, and then Friday night mostly cloudy, low around 43. Break out some heavier jackets if you're going to the light show or whatever your plans might be. If they are outdoors, that's going to be a crisp evening, but again, a perfect fall evening here in the Finger Lakes for late October. Saturday mostly cloudy, high near 53. Cool, pleasant day. Then Saturday night, we get a little bit colder, partly cloudy with a low around 40, so it's not quite in the 30s. One of these days, we're going to hit the 30s for the first time since probably last April. Sunday, just a 30% chance of afternoon showers, otherwise partly sunny, high near 53, beautiful day. And then heading back on Monday to work, just a small chance of maybe morning showers, otherwise partly sunny, high near 54. So I have no problem with temperatures in the 50s, especially if the sun's shining, and it's time to break out the old everybody usually puts their cold weather stuff away for the summer. Maybe break them back down and see some of your old friends in an old jacket you haven't worn in a while. Get it ready to go because
right away.
But overall, pleasant weekend here on tap in the Finger Lakes, and get out and enjoy it.
Yeah, as soon as it starts to drop, I'm that person that might be jumping the gun. I get my full winter coat on because I am always cold, and living in the Finger Lakes, you got to take it as it is. But I'm like, all right, I'm going to put 3 layers on, and then by the end of the day, or right now, I'm like, all right, I'm sweating. It's just that time. Yeah, it's just that time. But again, it was really awesome to hear just a little bit of your story. It sounds like you just have.
Yeah, thank you. Drive down, it was great, and hopefully the folks that are watching this will make a plan to get out there and check this out between now and November 7th. And
understand, we've had light shows, pumpkin walks, things like that, but nothing like this. And whoever you need me to talk to have them do a Christmas show, Halloween, I think we should just have it year round at the Finger Lakes because it would just make so much sense around here.
FingerLakesLights.com, Facebook page as well. You're safe a little bit of money if you pre-order your tickets. If you're just on a whim driving by and want to stop, you can get tickets at the door as well, but they're encouraging pre-orders. I assume you just print them right off, bring them with you, and you're good to go.
And support a good, great local business while you're there too. Grist Iron is great. You can't go wrong with that.
And so it is outdoors, but when you're done, you can bring your group inside and grab some food and drinks and spend some more time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm glad to hear you're not driving right back to Canada after this. Correct?
Hearing your weather in the 50s sounds pretty good to me coming from Ottawa.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's very true. But really, just like that, that's already the time we have.
I know.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Congratulations too on being able to pull something like that off. I can't wait to see it, and when you'll marvel at how they were able to do something on this scale, I think, when you go. Yeah, people should think a little bit more on the outside of how it's all put together. You see it, but the back end of everything is crazy to think about. But just like that, it's already time for us to go. Yeah, thanks again,
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for everybody who watched the show. If you enjoyed, you can click you can share with your friends, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be
Wine
back
Wednesday
again.
Next week, right?
Already? Yeah.
Last Wednesday of the month, Catherine Case will be back from the Cuba Lake Wine Trail with a guest and some wines.
Wine Wednesday. We love that. And until then, I hope everybody enjoys their weekend here in the Finger Lakes.